What is up, everybody? I am out here in the garage again, and this video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be it's not going to be entertaining. It's going to be kind of a DIY maintenance installation type video for those of you that might be interested. And it's going to be about Boonedox landing gear. And the reason I made this video is because my Boonedox, where they were installed, have started to develop a crack. Now, before anybody says anything about it, I installed the Boonedox on my boat in February of 2018. And I have, that's 3 years of fishing. I would say conservatively I go once a week. For every one of those times that I didn't go a week or two, I went 2 or 3 times that week. So conservatively. So in 3 years, 160, 70 trips. Easy. 160 or 70 trips. And for every trip, that is 1 time down and 1 time back up. So that is putting these wheels in and out 320, 350 plus times. So this is in no way an indictment on Boonedox or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to get a new boat at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year. And when I do, the very first thing I'm going to get is Boonedox landing gear. To me, it's invaluable. I pull up to the ramp, I put them in, pull the boat out of the back of the truck, put all my gear in, and then I just wheel it like a wheelbarrow down to the ramp and I go fishing, and just in reverse on the way out. So it is, I never have to clog the ramp. I don't have to set all my stuff to the side at the bottom of the ramp and park and blah, 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 blah. They are invaluable to me. So I have already taken them off with the intention of repairing this little crack. And I thought, you know what? While I got them off, I'm just going to show you how I installed them in the first place, in case you are curious, and then we're going to try to fix it together. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so you bought your Boonedox landing gear. Now what? Well, the first thing you have to do on an old town boat, especially one that's this long, if they're going in the back, which mine are, you have to cut a hole in the back. There's a flat spot back in the back of an old town where a hatch perfectly fits. I'm not sure exactly what size this hatch is, but one little tip: if you buy a hatch like this and you go to cut the plastic out and you trace around this outside edge like this, you're going to be in for a world of heartache, because then you won't have anything to screw to. So when you go to cut the hole, do it with this inside edge right here. Not this outside edge, this inside edge, because you got to have some meat to screw to. So, and this is just an Amazon $15 hatch, and it actually comes with a bag, and I keep extra props, extra bolts, extra shear pins, all that stuff in here, and it's just back out of the way, and I never have to mess with it. So, all right, now that's done. You have cut a hole in the hatch. So the next thing is you got to figure out where they go. I didn't put mine on the plates. The plates flex a little bit too much. I put mine right in the plastic. And for you guys that are going to be squeamish about drilling holes in the plastic or cutting holes in the plastic, if you want Boonedox, get over it or get something different. It's about the only thing I can tell you. Okay, so when you buy your Boonedox, it's going to come with your wheels. It's going to come with this thing right here, and it's going to come with 2 of these plates. I don't know what these are made out of, but they are stout and thick, and they're threaded. So this is actually what goes inside the boat. This is what it actually bolts to. So inside the plastic, it looks something like this. So it's got a pretty serious amount of backing back there, right? Well, over time, I'm not sure if you can even see it right there. Barely, right there's a little crack. And right over here, it may be easier to see because it's on the black. Right in here. Maybe you can see that. But either way, yeah, there it is. When it's got weight on it, it does spread out just a little bit more. So that's the reason why I decided, you know what, let's take this off. So, all right, so the first thing you do, decide where you want them. Obviously, set them down. Mark yourself out some holes. And drill you some holes. Now then, what I do is, let me get this real quick. Wrap you some electrical tape around the tip of your drill bit. That way your drill bit won't go any farther than that, because, and this is important, right underneath here you have your rudder deployment cable. If you reach in there, you can feel it. And right over here you have your steering cable. If you reach in there, you can feel them. If you just go drilling through there like a psycho and bottom it out, you might hit your cables. So just word of warning, be easy when you're drilling. Even with this, you know, there's still, your cables are right up here on the inside underneath. So be careful when you're cutting this out, and be careful when you're drilling your holes. But also, you know, don't be afraid, just jump in there and do it. So another tip is going to be, this boat is plastic, shocker, but it's fairly thick plastic. And this is an old town, and people have their preferences about which boats they like and which boats they don't like and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that Old Town, you might like Hobie, you might like Native, you might like something else, but you're not going to find any better quality of a boat or the material than what Old Town uses. So personal preference aside, this is the best quality boat, or one of, that you can get. That's it. Now, this is some pretty thick plastic. If you decide you want to put your backing plate right here, even with this, where it dips down for this mounting plate, you're going to be in a world of hurt, because that plastic is an eighth of an inch thick. You're not accounting for the plastic that's on the inside of the hull. So you need to move it out a little ways. Give yourself a little bit of room, okay? If you don't, you're going to end up with holes in the wrong spot. So just FYI, you want to leave yourself a little bit of a gap right here to account for the thickness of the plastic. Okay, so all that being said, you have your holes. Now's where you just got to kind of do some arm gymnastics and reach your arm up in there and hold the plate up in there, and then, you know, fasten it down with the screws. Keep it tight. When it gets wobbly is whenever the plastic starts to crack. I think that's what happened to mine. There's two set screws. There's one here and one here for this bar, and that's just so you can adjust it in and out. They come in pieces, so you have to adjust it to the length that you want. This one became a little bit loose, and when it became loose, it got some flex, and when it flexed is when it started to crack. So before that, I never had any issue, and I have taken it over big chunk rocks, I've taken it over gravel, I've taken it over dirt, logs, sticks, wood, boat ramps, you name it, I've taken it there, and I'm not easy with it. I mean, I'm not an idiot, but I am, when I'm ready to get to the water, I take it down to the water and then I drag it back out, and that's just all there is to it. So now, that's how you install them. It's really not that bad. It took me about 30 minutes to install them. I mean, You just have to get over the fact that you're drilling some holes in your boat. So now then, this next part is going to be brand new to all of us. So what I'm going to do is I'm holding this camera. I'm going to put this camera on so I have both hands. All right, so here we go. The first thing I need to do is I bought some JB Weld, and the first thing we are going to do is open this up, pour some of this out in the plastic, and I don't think this is going to take very much at all. So mix this up. This is going to set pretty quick. So first thing I'm going to do is just glob some of it on there, right there on that crack. You guys that are actual mechanics are probably like, what an idiot. Well, I don't know how to do it any different way, so that's the way we're going to do it. Put a little bit on this side. You know, after hundreds of trips, it's amazing to me that that's all the crack that there is. I fully expected whenever I pulled this landing gear off for it to just be cracked all the way across. I'm actually pleasantly surprised, and if anything, instead of an indictment on Boonedox, and I am not sponsored by Boonedox in any way, but instead of an indictment, it may be a nice actual advertisement for them, because I have used them well. Okay, so we are going to let that dry. Hello, Giant. And we'll see what happens here in a little bit. In the meantime, here's my idea, and I have no idea if this idea is going to work or not, but this is just aluminum bar, flat bar. It's 1/8 inch by 2 inches. It's 1/8 inch thick, 2 inches wide, 8 feet long. Get it at a hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever you prefer. And this is aluminum, and I got aluminum because it's not going to rust, and I thought, well, it's probably going to be pretty pliable. I'm telling you, I mean, you could bend it if you really wanted to. That's pretty stout. So here is what I thought I would do. So I have already laid this out to where this will set like this. I've already laid out the bolt pattern. This is going to set like this. Now, unfortunately, because of this indention right here, and because of the way this hull is shaped, I was going to put a plate on the inside, and I still am. But, so all I did was just take this plate, set it over the top of this one, and mark it out. But I'm going to have to take this plate, and I'm going to have to shave it down in some places to get it to fit underneath this hull. So we'll see how that goes, but the idea being, this being on the top, this being on the bottom, on both sides, sort of sandwiching the plastic with, where did that go? Oh, there they are. Okay, so the idea is these two plates being in, one of them being inside the hull, one of them being outside the hull, with this on the bottom side of that plate, just like so, and with the Boonedox being on the top side like so. I'm hoping that the extra width of this plate is going to just give it that much more surface area to have to go through, you know, to have to fight with, which surely to goodness that's not gonna break through that. If it does, then the whole backside of my kayak's gonna pop off. So if that happens, then so be it. But I don't think that's gonna happen. But I would like to add just a little bit of reinforcement, especially right there where that's cracked. So I'm gonna let this dry for a little while, and then I'll come out and sand this off, and we'll continue on from there. Okay, y'all, it is actually 2 days later. And what I did basically was I took one of these plates, actually both of the plates, and I don't know if this is gonna work or not. We're gonna find this out together. So what I basically did was I took this plate and I set it down here, matching the holes. Then I took another plate and I set it down, and I basically looked at the indentions on the boat. Right here, right here, here, where it kind of comes down, and I kind of just drew a rough outline of where I think this may sit and how it may sit in there. Now then, what I'm hoping I can do is take this and basically glue it right just like that. Then what I'll do is take my bolts. This is gonna be tricky. This is not gonna be the easiest thing I've ever done. So what I think I'm gonna need to do is this pipe that goes between these two pieces is totally removable. I'm gonna loosen that up, both sides, to where these two things just completely, wow, look at that. And I guess that's not just rigid plumbing pipe. I guess that is a piece of hard solid aluminum. Interesting. I had no idea. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Okay. So we're gonna take this. This is super glue. I'm just gonna dab a little on there. And I labeled this R for right. Take that and do that. Hopefully that sets. Okay, now what we'll do, the other one, probably could have wiped these off first, and I have, like I said, this may not work at all. Give that a little bit to dry and see how it works. Well, unfortunately, it's actually about 3 weeks have gone by now. I actually got it all installed and everything worked just like you would want it to work. Went together like a dream. Problem is, for whatever reason, the files got corrupted. So anyway, as I was trying to edit it up, that's where it stopped. So anyway, but I'm gonna try to do my best to kind of show you what I did. So whenever I last left, right, I was gluing the pieces that I made out of the aluminum bar to the piece that comes with your Boonedox. I had it glued together. Okay, that worked great. So I'm gonna try to explain to you what I did. And hopefully this will be a good tip, because trying to hold, you know, everything, unless if you got some help, great. You may not have to do this, but if you're trying to do it by yourself, then this is kind of the way you can do it. But So here's the plate that's on the top, and here is the Boonedox and where it goes in there. There's another plate just like this underneath with that backing plate that's threaded. Okay, so here's what you need to do. When you have that backing plate, whether you put the aluminum bar on there or not, just the regular backing plate, thread your arm up in there and hold it. Now, don't try to mount this piece or any piece whenever you have your arm up in there. What you want to do is put that bar in your hand, that threaded bar, stick it up in there and hold it, and then take one of these screws and just tighten it down. That will hold it in place. That'll hold it in place like it needs to be. Then you can actually take this piece here and you can sort of angle it at a 45. So basically what you have is you have this bolt holding the plate that's underneath, thumb tight, to where everything's kind of half tight. So then you take this, kind of cock it at a 45, and you can thread it in down through the hole, tighten it up, then take this bolt out, twist it to where you want it to go, then bolt it in. Now once you have them both started, then you can mess with it. So this piece right here will slide all the way in or all the way out or whatever. So you need to make sure that this piece is slid inside of one of these before you get both of these bolted to where you want them, because then you can't fit it in there. So anyway, I do have the backing plates underneath here, these extra aluminum plates, plus I put them on the top. I have since had Dardanelle tournament and another NSKA tournament, so I've used it a fair bit, no problems. But like I said earlier, just make sure that all your bolts are good and tight, your set screws are good and tight. Make sure everything's good and tight, because when it starts to flex is whenever you're going to get some cracking. But anyway, I'm sorry that this didn't work out like I wanted it to work out, but I hope you kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to explain about how to install these pieces when you're by yourself. Anyway, all right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, or at least I hope you learned something from it. And like I said, first thing I do whenever I get a new boat is going to get me another pair of Boonedox, or another set of Boonedox. So anyway, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one.